Now I will explain how the uh, material uh, manpower schedule, manpower schedule, equipment schedule, and material schedule um, according to the time and cost. I will explain why it is important in the project, because this document is required in the tender, and we have to incorporate also the common failures, the basic failures of the project, like uh, an alignment of expectation. We have to incorporate in the program to ensure that we meet our target. Some project failures, like implemented before the project approved deadlines. Normally, in here, we are executing without yet the approval of the project. So that's when it will create sometime project failure. But if the project manager can manage the baseline even without approval, the manage technique, so it is possible we can sort out. But normally here we are implementing. Sometimes the approval of the baseline is due to repeated comments. Sometimes it will take 1 to 2 months to 6 months before we get approval of the baseline. So that's when it will create it's part of the project failure. Then uh, inexperience or untrained resources also, that's part of one of the basic common project failure. Inadequate system and an accessible system. So an accessible system, or all the information should available in the online, so that they can update in the real time all the information. And team conflict. Okay, team conflict, when there is a delay, everyone is has conflict, so they are pointing fingers here and there. So so we have to make sure that there is no delay in the target baseline, or the baseline, or submitted baseline, to avoid the conflict. So part of the project failure also, the the mentality, okay, of each department. So we have to make sure that we can align the GM or the CEO or the project manager should know how to control the conflict. Okay, there are so many strategy how to control the conflict. Okay, so but the causes of the conflict is always in the delay of the baseline. That's only the conflict. So we have to make sure that the baseline is not has no delay. Uh, Misalignment of resources also we have to consider. So we have to make sure that we put the right person experience in each activity. Switching priority by time and cost activity, it will affect the project. Uncontrolled scope, the same with switching priority. We cannot, if the scope of works we switch, so in different way, in different time, so it will create create also failure of the project. So all that one, how we can make sure that we can control all these project periods. So we have to put in the program, everything we have to put in the program. We have to put in the program, and so that's why we need a risk assessment in each activity. We need a risk assessment. We have to calculate all the necessary information to avoid delay. If there is something, some information, uh, the project management will update the program and implement according to the update program. So we have to make sure that we will avoid the common failure of the project. Okay, so the manpower the BOQ is calculated based on the quotation and quotation and quotation and productivity of the manpower and equipment, but we don't know the rate itself or the cost itself of its activity when it will occur, because we need to put the timeline in its POQ activity so that we will manage the time, because we are not only calculating the cost of the cost of its activity, but the overhead is dependent upon on the subsequent activity. So you have to link the cost in the Primavera schedule. You have to link so that you calculate the uh, right um, right cost of the project. You have to link everything to avoid failure of the project. So if you have estimate, link it to the Primavera, link to the design, and link to everything, so that it will be um, mm, there's so many, there's some engineer, the project manager should, all the activity of the engineer should put in the program, internal program. Okay, the internal program or should be put there, so to make sure that all the engineer is working. The job of the engineer not only for implementation, but they have also to check the baseline if it is applicable. Any variances shall be raised to the planner and discuss and sort out. So we have to make sure that without affecting the completion of its activity, without affecting, so we have to foresee the risk of its activity. So that's why we have risk assessment. Okay, its activity. So there are many information must be incorporated in the Primavera. All kind of activity has time and cost shall be incorporated in the Primavera. Otherwise, it will create problem of the project. So we have a pro program. We can say general program to the client. Then, but we have very detailed program internal for our monitoring and control without affecting the approved baseline. So that's very important. So don't consider that if you have a BOQ and estimate and that's it. No, you have to consider everything: the time, cost, and all the activity related to. Any variances should be raised in the beginning. Variances. So if we have proper estimate, we have clear picture of the project, and during the estimate, it will be going smooth in the. So there is also how we can manage the down payment. Before we should reflect how to manage the down payment. We should make sure that that the valuation 30 to 45 depend upon the contract. You can submit the valuation after 30 to 45 days. You can collect the money or more than that. So we have to make sure that we have to manage the cash flow. Okay, within 30 to 45 days, you don't have any collection. You have to wait for that collection. So we have to utilize